move on to start phone banking. And there is going to be a breakout session for anybody that's new, that's joining our group today. And that's going to be with Christine Wolak, our fantastic tech support for our team. And then we'll excuse the veteran phone bankers to start calling, and then we'll have that going on. And please, all phone bankers that are veterans, you know what to do. Keep track of your calls, record your results afterwards on bit.ly 2020 calls, and then come back please at 12:45 so we can have our post-meeting recap on all our call sessions, okay? All right, so let's move on to introducing our dynamic phone bankers here to introduce themselves to Judy and Doug. And our Tri-Valley cities, Judy and Doug, are mainly from the cities of Dublin and Pleasanton and Livermore. But we've also attracted others to join us from other parts of the Bay Area and in outer California. And once in a while, we even get people from out of state. So I'm going to ask our dedicated callers to just introduce themselves by stating their names and the city they're calling from. So I'll start with what I know is our team leaders here from the team. Kyoko.
Kyoko Takayama out of Livermore. I don't make calls, but I make all these arrangements.
Great. And I'm Shirley. I'm from the city of Dublin. Linda?
I'm Linda Knapp. I'm in Dublin. I co-lead with Shirley, and I was on the other call that you were on, Doug, and I also did a lot last weekend with Mission for Arizona.
Okay.
Nice.
Christine, our tech support.
Hi, I'm Christine. I'm also in Dublin, and I make calls after I get all the newbies trained up, and I kind of hang around during the call in case anybody has difficulties. They can come back into the Zoom, and I'll be here. And if I'm on the phone, might have to wait, but I'll get you back on.
Carla.
Oh, am I nope, I'm not on mute. Hi, good morning. Carla Mill from Castro Valley, and I'm also from time to time, one of the phone bank leads here with Tri-Valley, and enjoy working with the group, and just want to see us get everything done here for 2020.
Great. Jillian.
Hi, I'm Jillian, and I'm in Pleasanton, and I am the other tech support, and I support Carla. And I also support a second team. We've lost our leader, unfortunately, but we're in the process of getting a second one. So, and I do avid postcarding.
Casey, are you on?
I am on. I'm Casey, and I'm out of Castro Valley.
Great, thank you. Kati.
Hi, I'm Kati. I'm from Livermore, California. I also do postcards.
Fantastic. Sue.
Hey, I'm Sue Shrikant. I'm from Sugarland in Texas, so out of state.
Yay, out of state, out of state. Okay, thank you, Sue. Maddie.
And,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead, Sue.
No, I was gonna say I've called a couple of times with Swing Left, and I've also called with Beto's organization, which is called Powered by the People.
Yes.
And fantastic. The Democratic Texas org.
Great, super. Maddie, you're on.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm from Tracy in the Valley. I've phone banked a few different times for census outreach for AOC, but this is my first time with the Swing Left organization, so I'm excited to be here.
Welcome, welcome aboard, Maddie. Mary Fortney? Is Mary?
I'm Mary. I'm the field organizer with Doug and Judy. So.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. And then Nathan, I think you're with the campaign also, correct?
Yeah, I'm the district manager in LD-20, and I work with Judy and Doug and Mary, and just thank you guys so much for everything you're doing. So.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. If other people come on, we'll get them to introduce themselves, but we're gonna go ahead and move on. Let me just say that almost all of the state primaries are now over, and our focus now turns to being partisan by getting our chosen Democratic state and national level candidates elected to win back the country we lost in 2016 and turn our White House to Biden blue on November 3rd. That's my biggest declaration for this morning. Now, state level elections are critical, and in danger, particularly in swing states like Arizona, where voter suppression and gerrymandering is so immensely detrimental to the election process this year, and along with facing the issue of COVID-19 exposure. Through the tireless effort of our community organizer, Kyoko, we have for the first time, and hopefully not the last time, the opportunity to have our Democratic candidates join our Zoom meetings. So we'll have a direct insight into their campaigns, the areas they represent, and the challenges that they face. From the great state of Arizona, we welcome Doug Ervin, who is running for state senate, and Judy Schwiebert running for the State House of Representatives. They have joined their campaign forces because they are both from Maricopa County, which is Legislative District 20, which is the largest and most populous county in Arizona that includes the city of Phoenix, Scottsdale, and Tempe. Thank you, Doug, and thank you, Judy, for taking the time to be with us, and we look forward to getting to know you better. For people in the audience, if you have questions, please put them in chat for the time being, and then we'll reference them when it comes to the Q&A period. Okay? All right, ladies first, Judy.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Well, thank you, Shirley, and thank you so much, everybody, for being here. As Shirley said, this is a really important election, and LD-20, which you're right, is in Maricopa County and actually includes the city of Glendale. It's also a part of our district too, is really ground central for not only winning a majority in our state legislature, but also helping to flip the US Senate with Mark Kelly and win for Biden, win the presidency for Biden. So this is a powerful place to be putting your energy. So again, my name is Judy Schwiebert, and I actually grew up here in Phoenix. My dad was a shop teacher at Maryvale High School and supported our family of 5 on his teaching salary. And he and my mom taught us the importance of education and hard work and respect for other people. And I've spent my whole adult life here in this district, LD-20. It's where we moved here when my kids were toddlers, and they are now full-grown, successful adults I'm very proud of. And this district is the place where I've learned important lessons, like that we all do better when everybody is, that we all do better when we are listening and working together so that everybody gets the chance to thrive. I learned that important lesson as a co-founder of TheaterWorks, which is a community theater very prominent here in this district, but it's well-known throughout the larger Maricopa County area. Also as a community leader of an indivisible group, and also as a teacher for 27 years at Greenway and Cactus High Schools that are right in the heart of our district. And, you know, working together for all Arizonans is what we need to do now more than ever. I frankly never imagined that I would be running for office, but as a mom and now a grandmother and a teacher, it just breaks my heart that we had students in over 1,800 classrooms last year who had no permanent certified teacher. And that's because our legislature has been strangling our schools for the past decade, and too many people just can't afford to teach in Arizona anymore. And that's because we have legislators who are not listening. Instead, they have repeatedly put special interests ahead of everyday Arizonans. Just this last legislative session, they gave millions in tax exemptions to millionaires and special interests when we so desperately need to invest that money in our students and our people of our district. Our representatives also voted last session against protecting people who have pre-existing conditions. You know, nobody should have to go bankrupt because they get sick. And they left the session without addressing the desperate need to update our unemployment insurance program. Arizona has the second lowest benefit in the country for unemployed people. They get a $240 a week benefit. So when we don't address those important needs to update that kind of a system, we are leaving record numbers of people who have lost their jobs through no fault of their own at risk of losing everything. And then finally, I just can't, I can't leave out the fact that our opponents are really undermining our ability right now to reopen our local businesses and schools, because they're ignoring the public health experts' calls to wear masks and social distance. And instead, they are putting their own personal selfish needs ahead of that need, and taking pictures that they're posting on social media, being out in large groups without masks or social distancing. So, as a mom, as a community leader, as a teacher, and now as a candidate, I have been just listening to thousands of people in our district over the years, and my neighbors and I want representatives who are listening and putting us, the everyday people of this district, and our kids ahead of those special interests. We want lawmakers who are going to work together to invest in our people so that every student gets a great education, so everyone has access to affordable, quality, dependable health care, because those are really the foundation for rebuilding a strong economy with good paying jobs, so everybody gets their chance to thrive. So thank you for listening, and do I turn it over to Doug, or do I kick it back to you, Shirley?
No, we'll swing it by Doug now. Thank you. Great.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate everybody being here. Just as a quick start first, I thought my kids were stalking me today. Our kids are Madeline and Parker, so when I see Maddie Parker down there, I have to wonder what's going on, but I know they're not out there right now. So, and again, my name is Doug Ervin. I'm candidate for state senate right here in LD-20. And one of those things that happened is a few years ago, I was down to the legislature to talk to them about education and the environment. Because besides being an accountant, I'm a volunteer tutor for second graders. And one of the big issues in Arizona is the fact that we grossly underfund our schools. And so I would see teachers bringing in more and more of their own supplies. I'd see class sizes getting bigger and bigger. And I was wondering what is happening here. So as a tax guy and numbers guy, I went down to talk to them about that and say, what's going on? Well, the first thing I heard was they didn't want to talk to me because I didn't vote for them and I didn't have a check in my pocket to give them as a donation. The second thing I would hear a lot is, well, that's where I voted those ways, is because that's how I get reelected. But those aren't acceptable answers to me. So I dug in more and more. And I found out that the state was giving away, as Judy mentioned, millions and millions of dollars every year for special interest. If sales taxes are a big driver here in Arizona, but country club membership fees are exempted from sales tax. Private airplanes, the purchase of fine art, they just go on and on for these exemptions that just give away money that could be going to our schools, could be going to our infrastructure, could be going to healthcare. And so I learned that when I'd gone into a budget meeting, which was going to be exciting to me. I was disappointed to hear a lot of those things that was going on. But then after that, I wanted to just kind of see more about the legislature. So I went up to the gallery in our house here, which is actually quite pretty and it's usually quite quiet. So I was hanging up there when I heard somebody say that they were going to vote on ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment, which is true. All these decades later, Arizona still has not voted to ratify the ERA. And I was super excited because my mom had worked on this when I was a child. And I was all ready to text her and say, Mom, this is it. We're going to witness history. Arizona's finally going to do it. And then I had to hear someone stand up and say, equal rights for women, really not worth our time to discuss. We have important issues to talk about here, like, should lemonade be the state drink? What's the state dinosaur of Arizona? And the saddest part is, that the members of the majority party agreed with them. Year after year after year, my opponent has said, equality for women, nope, really not worth my time to talk about. Even in our debate 2 years ago, the question came up, said, should the ERA be ratified? He refused to answer. It says, I'll skip that question. That's just how they treat big issues like that. So I got involved with a group called Save Our Schools here, started knocking doors. What I found out in our district was that no one had gone and knocked doors and talked and asked people what was important to them. They said legislators, politicians, they come by in October and want me to vote for them, and I don't hear again from them until the next election. So we knocked doors and they were excited. They got really excited. And that's what really made a big gain in 2018 when I ran and almost won, is that people were turning out. They were excited to hear that people wanted their opinion. So I said, what are the issues that are truly important to you? And time again, we hear education. Not just K through 12, but pre-K. Because I'll tell you, as a volunteer tutor for second graders, you get that good quality pre-K, that's important. And I still hear that today because people are saying, look, I'm home, I'm going to work, I need someone to watch my kids. But we also zeroed out community college funding in Arizona. In Arizona now, we spend more at the Department of Corrections than we do on all 3 of our major universities combined. This is how much they do not value education. The second thing I would hear all the time is healthcare. People in my family have gotten sick. We need to do something. I need to pay for it. What was my opponent's response to that? He's an anti-vaxxer. He said we should not have vaccines for young children. They should not be vaccinated. And so he trumped that. It was so radical that even our governor came out and said, stop talking about that. I am never going to sign a bill like that. But I want to expand healthcare. He wants to bring it back. He actually voted against expanding a program called Kids Care. Yeah, and it's just like it sounds like. It's free healthcare for children who can't afford it. He says, no, that's not important. And the third thing we hear a lot is infrastructure, making investments in our community, making sure we're investing in our roads and our broadband, making sure we're making smart, environmentally sound infrastructure. Because I've hiked all over this beautiful state. No, not important to them. So even this year, we had people who were killed trying to cross the stream because the state did not have the money to build a bridge over the stream that floods every once in a while. And it was the only way that they could get their home. So they actually got killed trying to cross it when they were desperate. So this is how bad it has gotten in Arizona. So that's why I'm excited to be running, because it's a very close race. And this race is not only critical, as Judy mentioned, to flipping the legislature, both the House and the Senate, but we are also, most of our district is comprised of a U.S. House seat, CD6, that is very likely to flip if we can work hard. It is critical to electing Mark Kelly for the U.S. Senate, just as it was critical to electing Kirsten Sinema in 2018. And then, I don't know if you guys saw this on the news this morning, but there is a race for the White House this year. I don't know if anybody, maybe it hasn't made the news there yet, but yes, it's pretty exciting. We might see 1 or 2 commercials on our TV. That's all we get here. So it is critical to that because Arizona's in play, which is really exciting. So I look forward to answering your questions and talk about whatever you guys want so you have more information for the phone. So thank you very much.
Thank you both. I can see I was very accurate in describing you both as being very dynamic, down-to-earth people that we want in legislature. You're not politicians. You come across very friendly and very relatable. So one of the questions that's come in for both of you, if you may, you both have expressed really good issues that you're both facing. But tell us how you're going. We'd ask you to just name the 3 most important issues that you face. How are you going to resolve them? Because you've done a good job describing them, but how are you going to resolve them? Judy?
Okay, well, first of all, education is the primary issue. Arizona is 49th in the country in our per pupil spending on our schools. And so universally, that's the top issue that Doug and I hear about from our constituents. They want teachers to get better paid. They don't want teachers to have to provide their own supplies. They want to make sure that every student gets a quality education. So as both Doug and I mentioned, there's a lot of special interest tax giveaways that are prioritized over our overspending on our schools. So, you know, right now, how do I say this? The special interest tax exemptions really favor the wealthiest among us and the millionaires and large corporations. And Doug can give you really great specific examples of that. He's the tax accountant. So we both are interested in making sure that we are closing some of those loopholes. Also, our corporate tax rate, well, I won't talk about the tax rate, but 74% of corporations in Arizona pay the minimum $50 a year in Arizona tax. You know, we're talking not about small mom and pops, we're talking about Amazon that has a distribution center here, and Apple that has a big center here, and others. So we need to look at restructuring our tax system so that it's really fair and everybody is paying their fair share. What we don't want to do is make sure that we want to make sure we're not raising taxes on the middle class, because they're already paying we're already paying our fair share, as are our local businesses.
Great, super. All right, Doug, you're back on.
Yeah, so definitely, like Judy mentioned, there's a lot of tax credits and rollbacks that we could do, and I could spend hours talking about it and never take a breath, and you guys would all be asleep and have tuned out by then, but I'll still be talking, but that'd be awesome for me. But yes, there's a lot of pieces there. Just so you know, we have about a $12 billion annual budget in Arizona, and we give about $13 billion away. So there is definitely room to get some of those types of things. The other big issue is healthcare. One of the things we really want to do in that is make smart investments, whether it be dental care for pregnant women, which is only a few $100,000 a year, but the Republicans say that's too expensive, to the kids care program, to the fact that we could expand our Medicaid program, which is called Access here, and just to let people buy into it, which makes the program stronger and reduces the rates for people who do buy into it, and it's no cost to the taxpayers at all. And then on the investments in the environment and the economy to help grow jobs, there are just so many things that we can do, but just making sure those investments are. Unfortunately, we have a group right now who believes that if you give $1 to an out-of-state corporation, that's beneficial to Arizona. Whereas I know that if I give $1 to a teacher, we not only get a good teacher and good students out of that, but that teacher is going to spend that money in Arizona and help the local economy. So that's the mindset that has to be changed, and that's what we're doing with that, and making sure it's environmentally sound up front to do those types of things. But we've really been hit hard by COVID here. I saw the question out there. Unemployment has skyrocketed. As Judy mentioned before, we are horrible at unemployment in Arizona. The rate is very, very low, has not been updated for many, many years. But unfortunately, what we've also done is not updated the system. So when this all hit and the number of people filing claims came, they were asking people who were programmers, who were the senior programmers when I got into software 40 years ago, because that's when the system was built. So the system literally could not handle the changes. And so that's how long. I've gone to hearings and heard our Department of Administration say, you gotta update this stuff. And in Arizona's philosophy is, you don't fix it until it's been broken for at least a decade. And then that's the way it's been happening. So that's what it is. It's always do things afterwards. And that is not fiscally sound. And that's what you're gonna hear me say a lot. I wanna restore fiscal responsibility to the state. I want to make sure that people aren't saying, hey, employer, don't give me money, and then going home and saying, sorry, kids, we don't have any money for school or food or Christmas presents. But that's basically what we've done at our legislature. So I hope that gives you a quick answer on those questions.
No, that's great, Doug. That's great. I have a question of my own, and I didn't type it in, but how are you feeling about the mail-in ballots and that whole controversy, whether it's safe or not in your district?
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that real quick. So Arizona is actually, we have a citizens initiative here, and that's one of the things we pushed forward for a while. Actually, 80% of ballots right now are already mailed in Arizona. It's a very sound system. They text you when they've mailed you your ballot. They text you when they've received it, when they verified your signature, when it's counted. So there's never any question of what it is. Unfortunately, you still have members, even in our own district, who are taking the Trump line that says, no, it's not safe. even though they've been voting by mail for decades, even though they tell all their constituents to vote by mail. They're just spreading that same rumor just to institute that same fear. It's unfounded. So it's very safe and it's good in Arizona.
It is, and one of my opponents is big on attacking vote by mail, calling it voter suppression, as though voting by mail is the only way to vote. No, voting by mail is one safe way to vote, and people can still take their ballot to a voting center and drop it off there, or they can go to the ballot box if they're comfortable doing that and vote right there. But vote by mail should not be attacked because, as Doug said, 80% of people in Arizona use vote by mail, including the very people who are criticizing it as not safe.
Absolutely. Hypocritically, Trump himself has done mail-in voting, although he can't differentiate between mail-in vote and absentee, but you know, that's par for the course. Does anybody have, I don't see any other questions here, so I would be asking Judy and Doug if they have any parting words for us that we should remember as we're phone banking, and right after this session, we're gonna be phone banking for you really hard, and we're gonna get as much support and help you get voted in. So Judy or Doug, whichever one wants to go first with any good parting words for us, I would appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you again so much for being here, and thank you so much for your phone calls. You are really making a difference, not just in our state, but in our country. And as you talk about me, one of my key messages to people is that I know that by listening and working together, we can create an Arizona where everyone can thrive. That there are good ideas from Republicans, there are good ideas from Democrats, there are good ideas from lots of different people. And unfortunately, right now in the legislature, the only bills that even get heard are from one party. So I want to make sure that we get good ideas from everyone and get to judge those bills on their merits rather than on the party of the person who is sponsoring the bill. So I think that's an important lesson to keep in mind too, because people I think are tired of the partisan gridlock in our legislatures.
Great, thank you.
And I'll mention, just building on that theme, and someone actually just mentioned it in the chat there too, is that Judy and I are listening. And so we did something that most people in Arizona don't do, and I tell people recommended against doing it, is we have our personal phone numbers on our flyers. And so if you're talking to somebody on the phone and say, hey, you know, they'd be happy to talk with you, we'll call them. And if they would like, they can call us. So yeah, 602-845-9674. We can put it in the chat. Mary, Nate can give it to you and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that we're more than happy to talk to folks. We're not supposed to be legislators who hide. We're out there representing them. That's how we want to serve them best. We didn't just come up with these issues because we thought they were cool. In fact, my original campaign slogan was free ice cream for everybody. But when I was knocking doors, people didn't say that was a great idea. That wasn't the most important issues to them. So I want to make sure we're representing the most important issues for everybody. So yeah, listening to them. They can reach out and call us. We're happy to listen to them, and they're the same numbers that we'll have in office also.
Excellent. I'll join that ice cream for everybody group, Doug.
I know, me too. I'm like, what do you mean that's not the top concern?
Well, anyway, we want to thank you both and your staff for joining us this morning. We really, really appreciate your time. We look forward to calling you Judy, Madam House of Representative in the future. And Doug, we look forward to calling you Mr. State Senator from Arizona. So good luck to both of your campaigns. It's gonna be great. And we will, again, like I said, work really hard for you. And we'll let you go now so you can continue your campaign in Arizona. Take care, stay well, okay?
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you. You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead.